What better way to ride into the new year? Enjoy the show! Welcome back to Creatures, Caverns, and Crafting. Today, guys, I want to craft ourselves a cyberpunk building. And to do this, I'm just going to cut out some foam core. I've got two pieces here. These side pieces, I've cut out about 4 inches by 8. The bigger pieces are about 8 inches by 7. And then I also have a top piece that I'll cut out afterwards. What we're going to need is just a razor knife, a straight cutting edge, and a mat preferably. What I like to do next is create some windows and doors. To do this, I'm just going to use a ruler and a pencil. Now, I suggest using a pencil because if your lines get off, you can easily erase those. If you're using a pen, you can easily indent into the foam board, and when you go to paint, that's going to show, and you don't want that. Also, I like to keep the height about 3 inches for the windows and doors. That's just if you're using 28mm heroic scale miniatures. If you're using something smaller, scale accordingly. So here I have everything laid out, guys. I did do some circles. I don't know if I'll keep that, but I just wanted to show that you can mix things up. If you don't like doing all the straight line and the edging, there are templates you can print out and just tape them on and just go over it with a pencil and cut it out. So just keep that in mind. You can easily look up those images on Google. Next, I'm going to go ahead and start adding some trim to the windows and doors. Remember, we want to make this look interesting, so we don't want to have a flat building. I'm also going to take this opportunity to apply bits and pieces to the building. Notice I've added some 3D printed items I have. Now, if you don't have a 3D printer, don't get discouraged. You can use craft stuff. You can easily use like stands for miniatures, anything to just break this up. I don't ever want to discourage anybody from crafting. Look, I even have a piece of MDF here. This was left over from a foregrounds terrain piece. I'm going to use that. Anything, guys. Just be creative. This is the fun part of the process. I'm sure you're going to come up with awesome ideas. Also, be sure to reinforce your building with some hot glue while putting this together. And here's some more footage as I've added onto the building. Notice I'm just using some more 3D printed prints. You don't have to do that. If you've got like used electronic parts, you could use that. You could easily create some granny grading for this. This is a piece of cable that I cut off, so if you have like leftover cables you're no longer using, cut those, use those, and they come in really handy. Also, I've added some beads here down for a control panel for the door. Flip it over on the other side. I've got a AC unit I printed off. You could easily make this out of some foam. And this is a ladder I just had left over from the MDF terrain. Also, what I've done is I've cut out some strips of black paper and just kind of put that on that. That's construction paper. That's going to hide that foam and also protect it, especially on those trim pieces. So I highly recommend you do that. You don't have to be perfect with those cuts. I'm also going to take some Mod Podge and just go over this entire project with it. Again, that's going to protect the foam when we go to prime it. Here I've added the roof, and I also want to show you guys I left a little gap. I'm going to add the back of the building. I want to leave the back of the building off because I'm going to add some details to the windows inside. For the roof, I just used a cap from a super glue bottle that was left over. I also added 3 craft discs, and that's pretty much it. So to prime the building, I'm going to use a Wolf Gray by Army Painter. Then I'm just going to start basing this out with some colors. Here I'm using some gold. This is a red leather. I may use some greens and some blacks as well, especially for the doors. Just to break up the solid patterns, I'm just going to do some stippling. You can use some light grays. Also suggest that you kind of dampen down this by using a black. Now here I'm using a spray gun and I'm just kind of shading things out. You don't have to do this. You could actually just take a spray paint of black and just step away from it and give it light sprays. This is just kind of really toning things down. It adds kind of like a soot look that you would see in a crowded city on a building, especially if it hasn't been washed. We're also going to stipple this some more using some burnt umber and burnt sienna. Once we're done with that, we'll add an Agrax earth shade and a Reichland shade, or you can use any other type of brown or black wash. Just make sure it's not too dark. Next, we're going to add some details. In this case, I'm using a fluorescent green just to pick out some computer screens and stuff like that. Make sure that you're priming white behind them. That is going to make that color pop more. I also got these pieces. These came off of my car wipers. It's that time of year and I replaced my wipers. But these are really cool. I'm going to cut off some signs as well, just printing those off. And I'm going to stick them to the building. Here, I'm just going to go over them with some Mod Podge. When you add the Mod Podge, that's going to add a protective layer and it's going to dry clear so you won't see that. Also, I'm going to take those wipers and I'm going to cut those up and start applying them to the building. I think this looks really cool. Anytime you see colored plastics like Tupperware lids or stuff like that, keep them, especially for crafts like this. Next, I'm going to print out 2 cocktail signs using my printer. I'm also going to take some clear plastic corner pieces. I just cut these out. If you fit them together, they'll fit kind of like so. And I'm just going to glue this onto some cardboard, put the plastic over top, and then we're just going to take those wiper inserts as before and a metal rod and put this into the building. So one of the last steps I did was adding the windows, and I'm using this holographic construction paper. You can buy this at any craft store. It really looks awesome. It gives a good futuristic look to things. Simply apply this. This is why I kept the back of the building off so I could get to it. I just tape this in place. If you want to, you can apply clear plastic beforehand just to add like glass panels.
It's like any other story in this forgotten city. Fixer hires a merc to do a job. The meeting was a small cocktail bar on the outskirts of Jig Street. All the usual players were there waiting to make eddies. Or die trying.
Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Greatly appreciate your comments, your support. We're going to continue that trend with some excellent videos into 2021. I want to give a big shout out to my friend Rob. He runs a podcast, We Are One, You Are Two. He was the one doing the voiceover work in this video. I'm going to continue to collaborate with him on future videos, so stay tuned. More to come on that. Guys, I'm going to drop his podcast information in the comments. Do me a favor, go check him out. He reviews a lot of video games, has a lot of relevant information, talks about what's going on in the gaming world. You will really enjoy it. Great podcast. Always enjoy listening to him. Check him out. As always, be safe, stay healthy. We'll catch you next time. Goodbye.